camera so that session can be made more interactive. Okay? Because बिना camera के session is not going to be interactive, right? And yes, अगर आपका कोई दोस्त वगैरह डेट ज्वाइन करे, because after 100 people this meeting will not allow anyone else to come, right? So अगर आपके दोस्त वगैरह बोले कि मीटिंग नहीं ज्वाइन होगी, तो do tell them meeting is getting recorded, it will be getting uploaded on YouTube, okay? So they can access the meeting from there, right? Got it? Everyone?
Got it.
Yes.
Got it, ma'am.
Okay. So on behalf of the Defense Partner channel, okay, I welcome Group Captain SR Reddy, sir, who is the ex-GTO, or 3, 4 and 5 AFSB. So hello, sir. Sir, am I audible? Yeah.
I can hear you. Thank you. Hi, Akanksha.
Hello,
Good
sir,
evening.
how are you?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
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 Good evening. Good evening.
Okay.
Very good evening, sir.
Good evening. Okay, Akanksha, should I start?
So just a second, just a second.
Okay.
So yeah, sir has given his precious time, like for all of us, right, to give you all insights about the SSB, the AFSB process, what it is all about, what the SSers are actually looking for in a candidate, right? So we'll start with a short introduction of sir, and thereafter we'll have some like live lessons that sir will give us, right, about his experience, starting his journey from NDA, then AFA, right, then to service part, right, and thereafter the SSB part as well. Okay, so at the last we'll take the questions as well from all of you, right? Yeah. Okay, sir. So please give a short introduction of yourself.
Okay, aspirants, I would, although the general norm is ladies and gentlemen, but I would prefer to call you, be gender neutral as is politically correct now, and call you all aspirants, okay? I'm Group Captain SR Reddy. I've recently retired from the Indian Air Force. I retired on 31st of March. I put in about 32 years of service. I'm an ex-NDA. I spent 3 years in NDA, Air Force Academy. I'm a navigator. But the most important part of my life has been, 9 years that I spent as an assessor, as a GTO, Group Testing Officer, which I found to be a very fruitful one. I mean, of course, the Air Force is an exciting life as such, but to see young aspirants come and, the kind of josh or the kind of enthusiasm that, most candidates show when they come there is actually very inspiring. Okay, how fruitful it was. That said, first of all, I'm very thankful to Akanksha on two counts. I also congratulated her earlier. Now, this is a very unique idea. Generally, most selection systems or most coaching academies that I've heard of or seen are generally run by ex-SSers or generally or people who have had nothing to do with assessment. Akanksha has a unique idea. In the sense, she is one of you who's seen the process as a candidate. And she's roped in someone like me who's done it from the other side of the divide. And this is actually, I feel that it's a very win-win situation for most people who have come to her for whatever reason that you people have come to her, okay? But I take it from me, nothing can get better than this. Because what generally happens is, when the younger generation, जब आप बोलते हो कि ज्ञान मत देना, at my age, I can only give ज्ञान. At her age, she can tell you something which relates to what your life experiences. So that is your takeaway from this. Now, my life, you can keep discovering as we go along, as we keep interacting more and more to make the most of your this interaction that we have or the interaction that Akanksha has arranged for us. I would suggest that we, get to the thing straight away, get on the ball straight away. So Akanksha, all yours. Let me know what I have to do.
Yes. Okay. So you can tell about your journey starting from the NDA, right? Like from where did you get that motivation to join the defense forces, especially Air Force?
Frankly, actually, picture because I came from a sort of defense family myself. I had an uncle, a grandfather, and a father who had at various times been in the services, in the army particularly. So, but since I live in Hyderabad, and I used to live in Hyderabad, I still do. So Hakimpet was close by. So I had people who were in the Air Force, friends who were in the Air Force, and that motivated me to join the Air Force rather than the army. The Navy, I never seen water in that sense, so I really didn't choose the Navy.
Okay.
That was the first thing. So when I went to ND, and I was like any other, like any one of you, spent 3 years there, came to Air Force Academy, and then went on to get commissioned and continue my life in the service. Of course, like I told you, life in the service is fairly exciting. A lot of exciting things to do. I was flying AN-32s, Lathe toys, and even the Karnik, this Port Blair. We used to have these Port Blair couriers. And then later, of course, I went to selection, then came to Air Headquarters, and then finally, I did a tenure at the Air Force Academy also. Interestingly, I mean, I've seen both sides of the divide. That is selection as well as training. I was the training coordination officer there. I mean, whenever you join the Air Force Academy, he is the one person you should avoid there. Okay, so I was doing that job. So that said, and then after that, I came to maintenance command, from where I retired. But I had always had this feeling that, that whenever you should see a candidate, the many candidates I saw who I felt then, of course, I was an SSS, I was supposed to be neutral, who I felt that they just needed a little bit of guidance, which would have gotten them recommended. Because a candidate is a very precious thing as far as the Air Forces or the armed forces are concerned. Because remember one thing, someone who's applied, studied so much, gotten motivated to do a job which, everyone is not cut out for. Prepared, reached there, appeared for the SSB. So no, I always used to hate seeing a candidate who didn't get recommended. Although, I have a brief from the Air Force to select appropriate candidates. But, there are those candidates, many of us fit into that category. People who, if they had been advised a little bit more, would have got recommended. In fact, the finest officers in these services are such people. The ones who are clear cut, who had a very good education, schooling, and, have known the ropes from everything, they make good officers. But the best officers are the ones who learn from every step, from step zero. So someone who thinks that they come from a background, from a village or wherever it is that they come from, aajkal to koi hai nahi waisa, but they make the finest officers. Believe me, men and women, or women and men, as you want to have it. Okay. So with that said, I used to find there are a lot of myths that pervade the whole system, as candidates and as coaching, that, that actually rob a candidate of a lot of that quality which he or she should be able to show. So those are things that, I would like to focus on and try to, at least for those of you who are fortunate enough to join up with Akanksha, remove those so that it eases your part to recommendation and finally selection. So,
Right, sir.
Akanksha?
Yes. So one of the candidates is asking that, sir, tell us about your like SSB experience. How was that? Like, the SSB procedure, which is now, it was not the same, years back. Right? So how was it when you applied for it, and how it has evolved now?
Okay. The system hasn't changed really. The candidate has. In the sense, now when I joined the service back in '89, I went for that was the only SSB I appeared for, Mysore one FASB or two FSB. I went there, got recommended, and that was the end of my selection ordeal. Now, how it was different was life was simpler then. I mean, your grandparents or parents must have told you to the point of exhaustion that lives were simpler, things was cheaper, and vagara vagara. But the truth is that our exposure was very limited. Number one, number two, the number of candidates in that sense were fewer. How? Because today everyone is exposed to the same thing. That mobile phone that you hold is the same mobile phone that fellow sitting in the pawn shop is holding, that somebody is sitting in the Dhirubhai Ambani's or Mukesh Ambani is also holding. You are exposed to the same information. That was not the case then. Then if you wanted to get information, you had to have access to a library, or you had to be rich enough to be able to afford books, or you had to come from a household where they ordered papers, where they subscribed to newspapers. And then papers, speech itself was limited to you, whether you attended a convent school or some good school or something like that. Today, that is not the case. Everybody is exposed to the same media that all of us have. All of us have the same voice on social media. That was not the case then. So in that sense, it was not so egalitarian then. It was not so equal then. Today, it is a far more equal system. Candidates are far more aware. But that also means that candidates have a few disadvantages that we didn't. For example, in my time, any idea that you had was something that you executed yourself. For example, if you wanted to go from place A to place B, you would have to travel to find out. Today, all you have to do is open Google or go on social media. You know everything about any place in the world. That was not the case then. You had something called pen pals. People used to write letters to, friends across. They used to find addresses from somewhere of, used to have magazines which used to have addresses of people. You should write to them in other countries and they should write back. So that is how we got exposed. But in your case, exposure is constant. It is, you're far ahead of the whole curve than I ever could have been. But the disadvantage is that you will find it difficult to execute an idea. In my case, since my concept or since my perception itself is limited, I can do whatever I understand. In your case, you understand far more. The candidate today understands far more than they can actually execute. So it is slightly difficult in that sense. But otherwise, no, I don't see any difference why you should be at any greater disadvantage. In fact, I find you people far more intelligent, far more smarter, far more expressive. So that is all that there is. The system more or less remains the same, but it is a challenge for the assessor, which is not your job in any case. So don't worry about that. Let me worry about that.
Right, sir. Okay. So, like, there have been a lot of myths, right, about the selection procedure, because going to the myths before I should talk about that. What are the type of candidates that the selection procedure is actually looking for?
Okay, I'll tell you one basic myth based on which I'll give answer Akanksha's question. The first thing is, please don't do the assessor's job. That is one problem I find now. Back in my day, all that you did was you just went ahead and did the task. You go for ASSB, do the task and come back. Today, most of you have psychoanalyzed the assessor beyond recognition. In the sense, a lot of candidates I have spoken with keep telling me, sir, what will the assessor think? What will the GTO think? What will the IO think? What will the psych think? Not your job. You are not to be bothered with OLQs. OLQs are not your concern. Please don't, 15 OLQs are of no use to you. Even for an assessor, they only come on the day of the conference. Usse pehle we never talk about OLQs. In fact, it is taboo. But I find that candidates know OLQs far better than the assessor. So you are only putting a stress on yourself. I'll come to that later. So that is the first myth that you must get over. Okay, that is the first thing that you must try and avoid. Now, candidate, what is a candidate? Answering your question, Akanksha.
Yes.
What kind of candidate are the services looking for? Now, the services are not looking for IIT, AIR or one. Please get this very clear. We are looking at a person who, when there is an idea, will be able to competently execute the idea. We are not a conceptual people. The armed forces are not a conceptual people. The armed forces do not invent anything. The armed forces do not create things. We run things. So running matlab, we need people, men and women and men who, when a job comes up, will be the ones to execute. They will not talk about patriotism. They will not talk about Desh Bhakti. They will execute it. When the moment comes, when you have to stand with your men and women, you will not turn back. It is as simple as that. No great IQ is expected of us. We are not expected to be 130 IQ, but we are definitely above average. But we are not exceptional as far as IQ is concerned. But in terms of execution, you are expected to be exceptional. For example, if I tell you, if your mother tells you, beta jaake perchun ke dukaan se 10 cheezein lane, and you only have a bicycle or that active or whatever it is that you people use now, you must go and get it done. Tab ye nahi bolna ki mami main nahi karunga, main Instamart kar lunga. Instamart is once, twice or thrice is okay. But what happens in a situation like COVID, or what happens in a fuel crisis? Of course, these don't happen every day, but in the armed forces, it's an everyday way of life. We live from crisis to crisis because that's the way the world works. We are there for a purpose. Like this, they walk the wall because of when something goes wrong, somebody has to stand. So that is it. You are that woman or man. So that is why you are expected to execute. That is the person that you are looking for.
Yes.
You are not expected to be, off the charts IQ, Einstein, and exceptional. Baat kar loge. Yes, speak well. Yes, you should be able to express an idea. Yes, you should be able to lead. Yes, but execute a job properly. That's it. Yes, Akanksha.
Right, sir. So, one very common question which the candidates ask is that, being from a common family background, no defense background, how can we develop the OLQs in ourselves?
First of all families are equal. In fact, you are at a greater advantage when you come from a background which does not have any defense association. Why? Don't ask me. Because if I do that, you'll be doing my job, or at least what I did for 9 years. All that you have to do is execute those tasks. You should be aware of what those tasks are because other people there are aware of them. Hamare time mein nahi hota tha, so we all went blind and a lot of them got recommended also and did well also. But in your case, just be what your parents taught you to be. And most Indians, middle class, or 99.9% of Indians are middle class only. Very few of us are Ambanis and very few of us are very poor. Dono category aate nahi hai. But that said, all of us come from a background where you've been given certain values. So just stick to them. If your parents taught you to be helpful, that is all that you have to be. Don't try to avoid that just because you saw some movie that tells you otherwise. So if you do that, you will get recommended. And a little guidance here and there ki kya karna hai, because that guidance also, why it is needed now is because everyone has taken so much coaching or everyone is so aware of everything that more often than not, your actual personality gets masked. That is the first thing. Second thing is, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, this is like an exam. If you don't write anything in that answer sheet, how will that examiner know what knowledge you have? You might have knowledge that gets you AIR1 in some whatever exam that you write, but the answer sheet is blank. How do you expect him or her to, assess you? In all three techniques, psychology, GT or interview. अगर आप interview में बोलेंगे नहीं, how will they know what you're about? In the GT, if you don't do anything, how will the GT assess you? And in the psych, if you don't write anything, how will they know what is to be done? That is all that there is. If you do that, you will get recommended. But just keep your line straight. That is all.
Right. So now coming up to the GTO part, basically. So because most of the candidates here are freshers as well, there are repeaters as well. So can you just, give a brief introduction of the GTO task, like what all should be done in the GTO task, and
Okay.
then we'll burst the
Should I
session.
give?
Yeah.
Should I give an overview to start with? The
Yes,
entire thing process
an
first.
overview, a short overview.
I'll do a quick run over, and then I'll tell you what things you can do.
Sure.
First of all, this GTO is what we call first of all, in the GTO, they're all tasks. They're not tests. It is like, your father asking you to get the electricity bill paid, or your mother telling you to get something from that general store or parchun ka dukan. It is just a task. Get it done. Okay. Now, there are certain tasks there is a certain pattern to them. Okay. That is all that is required of you. So you do it, like for example, there's a group discussion. A group discussion is a group discussion. So which means it will be a topic of common interest on which you will exchange views. Exchange views. You don't have to dominate. You don't have to listen to quietly without speaking. It is just me saying, like Akash and I are speaking. She is not dominating me, and at least I am not dominating her. I can't afford to dominate her, but so it goes. Okay. So that is the first task. So this task system requires, there are some 10 tasks. The first of these are called the group discussion 1, the group discussion 2, the group planning exercise, the progressive group task, and the group obstacle race. These are the first 5 tasks. Then there's another set of tasks, after which comes the half group task. Then you have either the command task or something else, but generally it's a command task, followed by the individual obstacles, then the lecturate, and the final group task. This is your battery of tasks. On the face of it, these are very simple. In fact, even otherwise, they are very simple. All you do is, for example, group discussion 1, group discussion 2, have a discussion. You'll be given a topic of common interest. Of course, for the first GD1, they will give you 2 topics. They'll ask you to choose one. Please choose one. Have a discussion. Group discussion 2, they'll give you 1 topic which they will not let you choose. Have a discussion. Then you'll come to the group planning exercise, where you'll be given a situation and a model will be explained to you. A narrative will be read out to you, which is a story kind of thing. You'll be given some time to read and comprehend the story. And then you'll be asked to write down your solutions and have a discussion to arrive at a common solution. Then the next one is outdoor task, which is the first outdoor task called the progressive group task. You'll be going through a series of obstacles, which we'll discuss in detail. All of you will be working as a group. And then you have the group obstacle race, where you will for the first time, be competing against the other groups through a series of obstacles. It's a race. And then you come to the half group task, where you'll be divided into 2 groups, given 1 task each, like 1 stage of the PGT. Once you finish that, there'll be a command task where each one of you will be called as a commander. You'll be asked to execute the task. You'll be allowed to call helpers, generally 2 helpers. You are the boss. Complete the task. Lecture it, where you speak for 3 minutes, or individual obstacles, where you have 10 obstacles to be gone through by you in 3 minutes. And then the final group task, which is like 1 stage, which all of you do together. This is the whole panoply or the whole battery of tasks. Am I clear about this? Anyone has any doubts? Any new person?
You can give a quick
Or a
thumbs up
fresher?
if you all got it.
Or does anyone want to ask anything about this? Is someone who's not aware?
All the freshers who are there. Any questions? Anyone about this? No? Okay.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the group testing, now please remember, unlike the interview where you are asked questions and you have to answer to questions or react to questions that someone gives you, or the psych test where someone gives you, you are given the stimuli, which you are given those pictures, those statements, or those words, which you have to complete and write, those are reactive in nature. The group discussion is what we call a dynamic task. You are given a situation and you are supposed to act. So it is very free flowing. You can't sit back here. At least in the side test, he gives you a paper and he gives you those words. You have to write something. If you don't write, you're missing it. GT may you'll never know, which effectively means that you are the boss of the whole show. You decide your fate in group testing. In the interview, you can be asked. Many of you say, "Sir, question on a tough question, push liya." That can happen. Not in group testing. Group testing is yours, so everybody knows what those discussion procedure is. There's a topic that is given, and those topics, please, ladies and gentlemen, are pegged at your level. They will not ask you to make the finance budget for the next year. You will not take over Mr. Sitaraman's job. So it will be a normal, simple topic on which will be asked to discuss, which most of you with any degree of exposure, some degree of GK. Yes, one thing I want to tell you for all things, at least for interview as well as for the GT, your general knowledge should generally be good. Now, okay, sorry, Akanksha, there's one small thing that I want to tell you. Because I asked Akanksha for a biodata of sorts, a CV of sorts. Now, she has an impressive body of work, for someone who's so young, okay? Now, please remember, although it is not expected of you, she might be, better than an average candidate, or, maybe extremely good candidate who's done a lot of work throughout her life, been part of NCC, attended camps here. She's been a C certificate. I'm sure she's been to the RD camp and wagara. And I mean, I don't get tired recounting her capabilities at this young age. Okay, it gives me a complex. But that said, that is ideal. But all of us might not do that. But in spite of that, some of us might prefer to be low-key. But that's also okay. But if you can, when you come to these tasks, if you can demonstrate them, if you're generally, if you are used to facing audiences, if you're the debating types, if you've been taking part in activities. Now, the very fact that you've chosen to join the profession of arms, you want to become an armed forces officer, there's a certain, how do I put it? For example, you want to become a chemistry professor. Don't you want to do a MSc in chemistry, or do you want to go with a BA? Will you be allowed to do it? So it is the same thing for the SSB also. You have a certain capability, that is why you want to come here. So agar aapka generally this percent, you like working with people, it's not a big problem. So this group tasking or group testing as we call it is exactly that. You'll be interacting with your friends and completing tasks. Am I clear about this? That is the basic essence of your group testing. Yes, Akanksha.
Right, sir. So a very common myth for the GTO task is that, sir, the more you will speak, no, the more chances you have of your recommendation. Is that true, sir?
Speak, yes, but not necessarily more. You must try to speak as much as possible. I mean, I definitely will not tell you ki kam bolo. No. If you can, why not? But it is not at the cost of others. I told you it's a discussion. It's a two-way thing. Speaking, discussion also involves listening. So you must speak. I would expect for those of you who have already been there, at least 4 times in each discussion you should have spoken. That should be the aim. And not because, just speak because for the sake of speaking. Add something. Because I'm telling you, if I throw any topic to this audience right now, all 91 of you will speak. Each one of you will have at least 45 of you will have new insights to give because there's so much of information available. So at no point should you hold back. Don't hold back an opinion. You should not leave that discussion with the idea that yaar us samay bol liya hota maine. Don't live with that. If you've done that much, good for you. More power to you. Akanksha.
Right, sir. So now we'll take the doubts. Okay. So one by one, you can raise your hands and ask your doubts to sir. Okay, we shall start with Prashant.
Sir, Jain, sir. Sir, Jain, sir, am I audible, sir?
I can hear you. Go on. Carry on.
Sir, I am serving in army, sir, from last 10 years. Like 2 times before coming to the army, I got screened out, sir. After coming to army, I did UG and PG, sir. But my percentage was low, sir, in UG and PG. Like in 10th, I got 90 and 92. UG 42, sir. PG 50, sir. Like after coming to the service, I did not perform well in my studies, sir.
Bolo.
How to do well in interview for this question, sir?
See, the easiest answer is always the truthful answer. Now, remember one thing, it's not very, see, I'll tell you one thing, okay, for the whole thing, I mean, testing, group testing, psych, as well as in the interview. There is one thing that you're always short of there. Can you tell me what? Can anyone hazard a guess? Can anyone give me a guess? There's in all this testing process, there's one thing you're always short of. What are you always short of there?
Sir, truth answer.
वो तो ठीक है, truth is always at a shortage everywhere, but otherwise, what are you always short of, technically speaking?
So knowing about ourselves more before going to the
Courage.
interview.
Introspection.
No. Very simple.
Confidence.
No. Confidence, ठीक है, that you will build up.
Thank
Akash will do it for you.
Power of expression, sir.
Initiative.
Yeah, what is that?
Initiative.
No, time. Time is what you're always short of. The idea of time is stress. Stress brings out the actual personality of an individual. That is the whole game. Your psych test is based on time. You can keep practicing this thing all over. You can mug up all the words. But those 15 seconds, I don't know how much time you get. I don't even remember because I'm not a psychologist. But whatever time you get, those short time, the worst word comes at you, how much you ratified the whole thing. It will get exposed at some point. And remember, that's why he's got 60 words. He's got how many SRTs do they have? 120. And 12 TATs. So when you're short of time, at some point, I will not waste your time by telling you psychological principles. But basically what happens is your real self comes to the forth. It is either conscious, subconscious, or unconscious. Something will come up. And that is where I will not say get found out, but that is where your real personality gets, it unravels itself. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. But remember one thing, the armed force is looking for officers to lead its people. So they also are paying for something. So that is their job. This is basically a lock and key system. What we are looking for is, are you the right person for the right job? That is all that we're looking for. So if it does not fit you, does not mean that you're not, there's anything wrong. Remember President APJ Abdul Kalam. I will not say it was a regret, but he always used to say, I went for the SSB, just didn't think that I was smart enough. Or Amitabh Bachchan for that matter. So nothing wrong. But the fit is important. Had he probably joined, he would have come out like me. He retired, finally retired as the president of our country, the chief of the armed forces, supreme commander. So what can get better than that? But what I'm trying to tell you is that time is short. So आपका जो question है कि 12th किया मैं 42 किया है, इसमें 52 किया, जो भी किया, tell him the truth. What was your reason? Sir, I was in the services. I couldn't focus so much. Whatever it is, and think whatever is a genuine exam answer. Don't have to fabricate an answer there, because a shortage of time, he'll ask you 2 more questions and something else will come out. You cut to the truth first, and that's the end of it. You're already ahead of the game. Now, the fact is that you have 42 and 52%, despite a very stellar performance in your 10th and 12th. You've done well there. But whatever reasons might have been, I can make out you're posted some high alt area. Given that you're wearing a cap in the summer, balaclava in summer, it must be really cold there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
The very fact that you're willing to put in that effort still says that you have that George, Jazbar, or whatever those qualities are to join, to become an officer. More part to you. So tell him the truth. This is what happened. Now you can't change those percentages, can you? Ya to force
Yes,
karoge
sir.
baith ke. So
Yes, sir. I am also from Hyderabad, sir.
Oh, very nice.
Okay. So Rishabh, now we'll take you down.
Okay. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Rishabh.
Sir, my question is, what G2 officers see in PGT tasks, sir? Whether they're seeking leadership quality or they are seeking that who are problem solver or group coordinator, good group coordinator. So I want to ask this.
Rishabh, I'll answer your question. Now, okay, ladies and gentlemen, from this point on, now my decent picture is off, okay? Abhi tak I was trying to put up a decent front because Akanksha put up such a formal front and all that, so that's okay. But now I'll answer you the way you should understand it. Chacha, mera kaam mat karo. You just complete the task here. We'll tell you how to complete the task. Yeah, this is exactly what I told you in the beginning. You're doing the assessor job. What is he looking for? आपको क्यों क्या देख रहा है वो? आप उसको पूछोगे कि सर आप क्या देख रहे हो? What is your job in the PGT? I'll put the boot on the other foot.
Sir, to complete the task with the group.
Bas, do it properly. You'll get yourself recommended. Hey, don't laugh so much here. You're embarrassing me putting up all those smiling emojis or हंसने वाला emoji डाल के. हाँ.
Sir, suppose if we have initiated doing the task and in between we got stuck and don't get any idea how to solve. So in between we sweep our process, our suppose if any coordinator or any friends, if I don't get idea, then can we swap the if we swap the place, so does it impact that I'm not getting idea or helping others, so does it show any bad impact on the candidate?
Why are you so worried here? इतना टेंशन, सारा बोझ उठा रखा अपने सर पे. And okay, for the first time, now after this we'll only converse in English. At least if I can speak in Hindi, but you will speak only in English. Primarily because
Yes, sir.
it becomes a bigger advantage when you go for SSB. That's about all. Otherwise, I scored 74% in my class 10th in 1986. Okay, so Hindi aata hai mujhe, in spite of the fact that I'm from Hyderabad. That's okay. So what your concern? Why are you so worried? आप अभी आप एक बात बताओ, आपको टास्क कंप्लीट करना है. ऋषभ, वेयर आर यू फ्रॉम? कहाँ से
Sir,
आप?
I'm from Bihar.
कहाँ? वेयर इन बिहार यार?
Sir, in Vaishali, Hajipur.
ओके, हाजीपुर से. वो केले अच्छे हैं ना वहाँ?
Yes, sir.
हाँ. Anyway, that's a different thing. So my point is, आपको आपका काम क्या है जब पीजीटी के लिए जाते हो? What do you have to do there?
Sir, we have to
Complete
complete the task with the group. Yes, sir.
Complete those 4 stages.
Yes, sir.
Those 4 stages are not so simple. आपको 8 या 10 और लोग हैं, आपके 9 और लोग हैं आपकी तरह. You have to complete that. You already have a task at hand. उसके बाद आप वरी कर रहे हो कि जीटीओ आपके बारे में क्या सोच रहा है, मैं चेंज करूं तो मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेगा. इतना टाइम नहीं है यार. You just do the task. वरी मत करो. Oh, yes, my one thing is you must always try to put yourself, which later we'll discuss and tell you how to put yourself in the most advantageous position so that you get a chance at showing your idea. That is what you have to do. But remember one thing: one task does not get you recommended or rejected. There is no rejection there. The fellows have got recommended, I've got recommended. You have not got rejected. It is just that you are not recommended. That's all. So आप एक टास्क को लेके वरी ना करें. Only one thing I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, please remember one thing. As far as the group testing is concerned, the first 5 tasks, GD1, GD2, GPE, PGT, and the GOR. GOR कभी-कभी एयरफोर्स बोर्ड में नहीं होता है. But the first 5 tasks, you must give it your all. उसमें आपको हिचकिचा. Don't say that I'll speak well in the lecturate, I'll do well in the individual obstacles. ना वो बंदा ढूंढ रहे हैं, ना वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ढूंढ रहे हैं कि अच्छा स्पीच देगा या इलेक्शन पॉलिटिशियन ढूंढ रहे हैं. You will do well in the first 5 tasks. Whatever happens, you'll give it your all. And you'll get through in the GT. Not a problem. Don't keep anything for later. बात के लिए बचा के नहीं रखना है आपको. There is no such rule that command task is the most important task. People try to read into the command task. That is okay. But the first 5 tasks decide your fate. Don't forget this. Here, just those of you who have a pen and a paper, please write this down. If you remember tell me one thing. If you don't get screened in, do you have a chance at the SSB?
Yes, sir.
अगर आप PPT क्लियर नहीं करते हैं, will you give the SSB?
No, sir.
मामला वहीं खत्म हो गया. So the idea is to do the first 5 tasks well, and in your case, which means आपका रवैया देख के मुझे डाउट ये आ रहा है. In the GD1, GD2 also you must be worrying. यार जीटीओ मेरे को देख रहा है कि नहीं, व्हाट इज ही थिंकिंग अबाउट मी. उसने आपसे रिश्ता थोड़ा जोड़ना है यार.
No, sir, I recently got sir conference out, but this attempt was best of my previous 2, sir. So I'm not able to find out the reason behind this, but the GTO was very fine, sir, from the previous 2 conferences that I have attended. So that's why. And sir, one more question: how to inculcate liveliness, sir? It's also a major problem in me.
No,
Sorry, sir, already told that you should not worry about OLQs. Again, you are repeating the same thing.
No, I'm asking that, sir, how to inculcate liveliness, not about the OLQs.
liveliness. Yeah, don't worry about the OLQs. You're making me revise my definitions of the OLQs. Now, OLQs generally take about an hour for 1 year for a GT or an assessor to understand. आप कैंडिडेट में करना चाहते हो, उसके बारे में सोचो मत. जनरली खुश रहो, बी पॉजिटिव. व्हेन यू गो फॉर द एसएसबी, now remember one thing, जो आपके 8 बंदे और हैं ना आपके साथ, जो आपके दोस्त हैं, they are your friends as well as your competitors. They are not your enemies. आपके प्रतिद्वंदी हैं, वो दुश्मन नहीं है. बट आपको उनके साथ काम भी करना है, उनके अगेंस्ट काम भी करना है. मतलब you have to show yourself while working with them. You cannot do the PGT on your own.
Yes, sir.
So that's why it's called a group task. Now what I look at the group testing officer, don't let me explain to you. You're wasting your time. So आप केवल अपना कीजिए, खुश रहिए. Tell me one thing. I'll tell you, all of you, I'll ask you a question. When you go for your SSB, what is the best thing that can happen to you at the end of your SSB?
Making friends and doing best with all other friends.
हाँ, कौन है लास्ट वाला? स्मार्ट, ये तो दोस्ती वाला है ये. But the other one, making friends. Getting recommended is the most important thing. That's the best thing that can happen to you. And what is the worst thing that can happen to you at the end of SSB?
Not getting recommended.
Not getting recommended.
Nobody's going to. कोई आपको गोली तो मारने वाला है नहीं ना.
Screen out.
कोई आपको धुरंधर तो बनाने वाला है नहीं. So what is your worry? You go with that approach. You prepare well, go and see what you are doing is. आप बोल रहे हो कि सर मैं पेपर एक क्वेश्चन पेपर रट जाऊंगा तो मैं सारे पेपर आंसर कर लूंगा. नहीं होगा. वो लाइक व्हाट दिस बुलंद बनो अपने आप को, हो जाएगा. The half the trouble is, most people who don't get recommended, half the trouble is people themselves. इतना टेंशन ले लेते हैं कि नहीं सर ये है वो है, ये सोचेगा वो सोचेगा. I met a candidate that one attempt in which I told him don't think about the necessary got recommended. अलग बात है, poor chap got merited out is a different story. He was so concerned about what the GTO saying. What will the GTO think? What is your problem here? So ऋषभ इतना सोचो मत आप सिर्फ टास्क करो बस. अगले बार अटेंडेंस जाओगे ना, जस्ट डू द टास्क. आपका लाइवलीनेस भी ठीक रहेगा बिकॉज आप इतना सोच रहे हो कि जीटीओ को देख देख के जीटीओ परेशान हो जाता है. Got it? So you just do the job. आप ऐसे तो हसमुख टाइप ही है. What is your worry?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, Akansha, to you.
Okay. Sachin, are you there?
Jai Hind, sir. I am Sachin Kusub.
Jai, no.
Sir, I have a question like in PPDT group discussion, how do we have to approach for a group discussion?
Okay. Now, all those candidates who come to me not getting through the PPDT or the screening out, I have only one word: speak. You did not speak, at least in the Air Force boards. So I'm sure it's the same in the Army boards also, at least what I've seen of them, Army and Navy boards. If you don't speak in the PPDT, you cannot get recommended. What do you have to do in the PPDT? Number of characters, age, gender, mood, what led to the situation, what is happening, and what do you think is going to happen? इतना ही लिखना है आपने. Narrate this individual story, and then have a discussion to arrive at a common story. In all three, number one, write that story. Number two, narrate your story. And number three, take part in the discussion. You will get through. I just met a candidate. In fact, a candidate would come to me. She told me, sir, no, I actually spoke and, and she was good. There's no doubt that she was this thing. Anyway, she went for SSB, got screened out. Even I was surprised. So then she said, sir, I've been speaking and, I listened to everyone. Ye wo pura chala. So then luckily I had some 4 or 5 more candidates. So they came to me and I put her in the discussion. Now, despite the fact that she had a brilliant idea in the group discussion, she wouldn't speak more than once because she was trying to be such a polite listener that she just wasn't making a presence in the discussion. So question paper, आपका answer sheet जब blank है, how will that person know? So PPDT में इतना ही करना है आपने. Take part in the discussion, narrate your story, and don't worry कि मैंने ये story लिखा है, select ये story हुआ, चल जाता है. If you can agree with them, very good. आपको 3 के लिए 4 बंदे दिखाई दिए, arrive at a consensus. लोग तमिलनाडु में गवर्नमेंट ही चलाते हैं कोalition में, जहां आज तक सिंगल पार्टी चल रहा था. आप इतने में वरी कर रहे हो.
Sir,
One discussion. One. Sorry.
Most of the candidates have this concern that how to handle that fish market that becomes in GD.
Okay. See, now this is for these 91 people who are here. So I'm only hoping and praying that all 91 don't end up in the same board. Okay. Now the simple secret to any discussion is, especially for the repeaters. Now, repeater make the biggest enemy of the repeater is the repeater themselves. Okay. Now what happens is after say 10 seconds or 11 seconds or 15 seconds, now which you will have to work out. Or maybe if you have more discussions, if you have take part in whatever Akanksha organizes for you, then you'll probably find out for yourself. There is always a pause. If you get a chance to speak from the word go, don't leave it. मतलब दरिया दिली मत दिखाइए. Don't be charitable there. Have your say. Let the other person also speak. Don't keep. There are some people who just speak. Okay, this is going on. मतलब you look in one direction and just keep speaking. Don't do that. Speak to that community there. Speak to the 8 people there. Number one. When you see that gap, and let's suppose you end up in a group where everybody wants to speak at the same time. Remember one thing, after 8 to 10 to 12 seconds, 8 to 12 seconds is the time that I've noted, there is a pause. All these initial shouters, they have to stop to take breath. Because remember one thing, they've all started at the same time. So as human beings, मान लिया कि वो champion swimmer, they can hold his breath for a longer time. At 12 seconds, he or she will take a pause. Make your entry then. And one important point there, when you enter a argument for someone, let's suppose वो मिला नहीं आपको, you were unable to spot it. You want to speak. Now you finally start speaking and then they let you speak. Don't start with a point. Because आपका जो जो Trump point है या that ace है, वो जो भी ace in the hole that you have will get lost in that halla. What you will do is, okay, so and so, can I add to your point? You mentioned a very good point. Can I add to your point? No, nobody can resist flattery. अभी तो कोई पैदा नहीं हुआ. So say that and then make your point. Then start with your point. Don't start ki, okay, Trump did it, Trump did it, or Trump हम उसमें निकल गए. You will start with straight away with that क्या उसका नाम क्या Khamenei, or you will start with someone. And number two, my advice is if your general GK is good. Now GK, आजकल the trouble with, like I told you, everybody has access to the same information. So my advice is on each topic, at least go 20 years behind. For example, when you talk about Iran, don't stick to Mr. Khamenei himself. You should know something beyond Ayatollah Khomeini, who was the guy who started the Islamic Revolution, or the Shah before him. That Raza Pahlavi was a Shah, who was the ruler of Iran before the Islamic Revolution started, was a US ally. Some people call him a stooge. So if you can talk from somewhere there, people will listen to you. They'll say कि इसको हमसे ज़्यादा पता है. वरना सबको YouTube वाला knowledge ही है कि उतना जितना मतलब 5 सेकंड में जो all this initial जो हल्ला वाला lot होता है, they generally have the 2 lines which they have to speak. उसको लगता है ये मैं उगल दूंगा या मेरे 2 नंबर बन गए, मामला खत्म. GTO ने मेरे को select करवा लिया. It doesn't work.
Yes, sir. We got your point, sir. In that after 10 seconds, we speak. So we take a point of common story, like most of our group members, we will take. So even after the 10 seconds, unfortunately, if you don't get the gap, so what should be our approach, sir?
Look for that point where that one guy who's speaking longest is speaking. Interrupt him. Interruption is an art you will master over time. Maybe attend some of these classes and all that, where you'll master how to interrupt. When you see, now for example, I can tell you how to ride a bicycle. आप एक pedal पे पैर रखना, उसको धक्का देना, फिर आगे जाओगे, तो उसके दूसरा पैर चढ़ाना और pedal मार के चले जाओगे. That is a theory. But unfortunately, bicycles are not ridden in theory. At some point, somebody will have to hold you. Remember the first time your father or your uncle, your brother taught you how to ride a bicycle. So some things have to be done in practice. एक दो बार गिरना होता नहीं कि some people learn without falling down also. But that you practice कर लोगे, you will get it. Because I can tell you all the theory in the world. In the end, you have to speak. You are the one who's going for the SSB, no? So that is all that is required. It will happen. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Sir, in the another context, so the group is very silent and group got the consensus at early stage, but the wrong approach. So in that condition, should we have to go with the group, or should we have to convince the group in that condition?
Yeah, Sachin, your task is cut out. You have a group that does not speak much. They arrived at a consensus which you feel is wrong in the beginning itself. Try to convince them, which is what you're there for. Now, remember one thing. आपने वो देखा है that Family Man वाला movie, that 2, where
No.
you know that Bajpayee slaps that boss, minimal person वाले को.
No, sir, I don't see movies.
अरे serial यार, OTT देखते ही होगे. You're worse
No,
than
sir,
I am.
no, sir.
Anyway, there is a serial in which Manoj Bajpayee is left that secret service to join the corporate sector. So his boss always calls him a minimum person, which means he is basically talking about a person who does जितना काम है उतना ही करूंगा. He's not that case, but that boss thinks. Anyway, what happens after that? Watch that the Family Man. Okay. Now the point here is what you are saying is a minimum guy approach. कि सर ग्रुप ने पहुंच लिया, ग्रुप पहुंच गया, मैं चुप रह के मैंने अपना सामाजिक उत्तरदायित्व पूरा कर दिया. I will not speak more. When you know that it is wrong, you know the group does not speak much, all conditions are ripe for you to speak. Tell me one thing, if this situation happened and if you were there, now I'm sure you must be kicking yourself. Why didn't you speak? If you knew the group was wrong, group was not a very active group, आपको बोलना था कि यार, gentlemen, I think, and that situation is wrong. Now this brings me to another thing. Now remember one thing, it is better to counter with logic rather than with force. Use logic, not force. आप चिल्लाओगे, like they say, raise the level of your argument, not the level of your voice. So when you come to this situation, tell that person, logically, this is what is wrong. This is what will go wrong. People will listen to you. I've seen, in spite of whatever you might say about Indians, but at some point people listen to logic. So logically, this is why I feel that it will not work out, and then they will listen to you. Take it from me. I tried a few discussions here, you'll find out.
Sir, in bad condition, if they don't agree, at one point we say that this should be the theme of our story. So they don't agree, most of our group members. So should we have to go with the group?
क्या करोगे? Will you walk out?
We have to go, sir. Yeah.
बस. The answer is simple. They're not your enemies. ये घर में नहीं होता यार, आप इतना दूर बात कर रहे हो. I have 2 daughters. half the time I'm trying to convince them to do something. वो सुनते नहीं है. At some point, either they give in or I give up. Akash will know that very well. Ask her father.
Yes, sir.
Or all of you. आप सब उसी boat में ही हो. So at some point you have to reach a consensus. The people are reasonable. It's not like that. But logically, answer. You start shouting, "You're an idiot. You don't know. आपको नहीं पता. You did this at the room. I know what you did last time." फिर तो मामला वहीं खत्म हो गया. But you can convince, and that is where you're. That is what you're getting selected for, aren't you? You want to get recommended also, na?
Yes, sir.
It's not a cakewalk.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Devanshi, go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
So my doubt is that this time when I was in the SSB, what happened was my GP solution was like, oh, at most 80% wrong. So I found it very difficult to participate in the GD because the solutions that I had was wrong, and I was just realizing as the conversation was going forward that what other people are saying is right. So how do I uh, make a presence over there when I have already like messed up?
Okay. Now there are two things which are tailor-made for success. One is being absolutely right, and people know that you're right. तब तो लोग मान लेंगे. And second is being absolutely wrong. 80% is more than absolutely wrong. Okay. But if you knew that you were wrong and you realize your mistake, what better person can I look for? Here is a person who understands that she's made a mistake, is willing to remedy that. Say that to the group. Okay, I agree to this thing because I find that this my solution might not work. You might lose a point here, but won't you gain a point there? No, there is no point system. I'm just telling you. I mean, for argument's sake or for colloquial use or to make you understand. So what you lose in one point, आपने गलती कर दिया क्या? Anybody can make a mistake. Where are you from? Which place do you belong to?
Sir, Gujarat, Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad. I spent 5 years in Gandhinagar, so I should know. Let's suppose you want to go to Gandhinagar from Ahmedabad. You instead of taking it at the SG highway, you take that other beach वाला airport वाला road ले लिया आपने. वहाँ कुछ strike चल रहा है, कुछ procession चल रहा है. So you change your mind. No, you say, I'll take the other one. You have to get to Gandhinagar. क्या करोगे? You'll come back here and go. It might take you longer, but that is the logical thing. You have to reach Gandhinagar. So
Yes.
just
Okay.
change your approach. There's nothing wrong with changing an approach. A lot of people think कि मैंने गलती के साथ चुपचाप बैठे रहो. Don't get
So
caught.
actually,
Everybody,
sorry to cut you off. What happened was that I was not like I was saying my agreements and disagreements, but I didn't put out my points because I already realized. So should I do that, or should I like keep my point and then contradict myself and say that I'm
no,
wrong?
no. Although, see, I don't think you'll have so much of time. I mean, you must have been with a very benevolent group that they let you speak so much. But you can say, okay, our point discussion में आएगा ही नहीं because you written a solution. You go on the discussion straight away. Unlike the PPTT where you have discussions, where you have individual narration, there is no individual narration here. So आपको लग रहा है कि गलत हो गया तो हो गया यार. In fact, I'm sure anybody will give you marks for having at least accepted what the right thing is.
Right. Okay, sir. All right. Thank you, sir. Just sorry. One more thing that came to my mind. Before the command task, I remember the GTO sir asked me very similar to interview questions. Like it was like a 5-minute shorter version of an interview. So what is that about? Like, is there a
Okay.
motive behind it?
No. That has nothing to do with anything. He is only making you comfortable. अगर आपको सीधे बुला के बोले, okay, start, this is your task. Look, people are, I mean, see, you are a candidate. But remember, when you see a candidate there, when you command task bolte, people think that they've been asked to become Durandar or something like that. Some people get very stressed up, and it's perfectly natural. I mean, you come for a job, you put in your heart and soul, you written that exam, you travel so much of distance to come and give that SSB. You are bound to be, there is bound to be a certain amount of tension. Nothing wrong with that. So to make them comfortable, you ask you, where are you from? Kya karte ho? Ghar mein kaun hai? Mummy, papa. And I've had a lot of people tell me so many things. I mean, there are so many things that I learned from candidates who came there. And once they're comfortable, we start off with the task. It is not an interview.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Deepak, go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. So, in the starting of the session, you mentioned that what was the reason to join the services. So, whenever I ended up in the SSB, one doubt always stays with me. Like whenever I look at my reason, that I'm from a complete civilian background. None of my parents are from the armed forces. So my reason always stays that I want to be the first person from my family to join the armed forces. That I want to change the trajectory of my family. But whenever I see other associates, they are mainly from the associated with different kind of military institutions. Like some of them are from NCC. They have done, like they have from national level shooting. They have been to some of their like exciting areas. But my reasons are very simple. So sometimes that self doubt comes into my mind, that how to overcome that thing, sir.
Overcome what?
That
Here is a wait. Here is a candidate who comes from a background which has nothing to do with the services. More often than the part of the country that I come from, उस समय बोलते थे कि यार armed force में क्या मर जाएगा. It was rarely seen as a career. Although some of the most impressive people came from my part of the world, but ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. In your case, you're a candidate who does not have any background in the services, and yet you've chosen the profession of you, and yet you've decided with whatever little knowledge you have, you decide to come and become join as an armed forces officer. So more part to you here. Only thing is, when you come, now please remember what the general logic is. For example, where are you from, Deepak?
sir, I'm from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh.
तो लखनऊ से और कहाँ घूमने गए आप?
Lucknow,
कहीं घूमने
sir.
गए हो?
Now, so as of my job, I have been staying in Kolkata from last 10 months.
But
Before
कोलकाता
that, I was in Faridabad, Haryana.
चलता है, उतना चलेगा, उतना हिस्ट्री चलेगा, ठीक है. Now let's suppose you're going to Kolkata for the first time.
Yes, sir.
कुछ तो पता लगाया होगा आपने, या कूद के वो हावड़ा स्टेशन पहुंच गए या सियालदा पहुंच गए? कुछ तो
No,
पता
sir.
लगाया कि कहाँ वहां से कहाँ जाऊंगा. आप लोग, and as it is your generation, everything is Google, so it's available everywhere. आपने रूट भी पता लगा लिया, बस आपने पता लगा रहेगा, टैक्सी का फेयर भी पता लगा लिया होगा. So when you have all this, so for a small thing like going from Lucknow to Calcutta, and all cities are almost the same now. That's not the case in my day. So उसके लिए आपने इतना पता लगा. So when you want to join the Air Force or the Army or the Navy, it is only natural that you should want to know more. You should have some knowledge of what you're getting into. That is all that they ask of you. If you're coming here, do you know what you are all about? Because they don't want someone who doesn't want to know anything about it. It treats it as another job. CGL, SSC या जब उसका job सोचो कि एक और job में कहीं कर लूंगा, वैसा नहीं है. Here you're expert to know what you're getting into. In the sense, are you really passionate about this? Because remember one thing, it's not a job that will let you stay in one place.
Yes.
Frequent transfers, life isn't always easy. Exciting, yes, but it's not always easy. Most people don't want that. People who want to, live, get born, live and die in the same place. A lot of people want that.
Yes.
So in case you want this, so say it. What is wrong? But you should know something about the service. You should find out what you're getting into. That's all that is asked of you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Abhinav. Abhinav, you're not audible. Not audible. You are unmute but not audible. Okay. Say
No, ma'am.
yeah.
I'm audible now.
Yes, audible.
Sir, my question is, my SSB is scheduled on the 1st July, 1st July 2026 through NCC entry, sir. So my question is, sir, what is difference through NCC entry and written entry? Because most of my friends who are related to this SSB process, they said to me getting recommended through NCC entry is very different. So this is my first question, sir. And second question is, sir, I am fresher totally. So whether I should take coaching of SSB or I can do it myself, can you guide me, sir?
Okay. Frankly, in an ideal situation, in an ideal world, you can mute yourself. Okay. See, in an ideal world, you don't need any coaching. Back in the day when I went for my SSB, I finished my class 12th exam, I just went for my SSB, gave it and cleared it and came back. It is as simple as that. But the point now is, see, now what the issue now is that the competition is such, there's so much information available. Now that is the assessor's worry. That person has to, do it. It's much more tougher for an assessor to assess a candidate. Because everybody is giving out so much of information, how much is real, how much is true. So that is why it takes time. Okay. So in your case, if you ask me, actually, you don't need coaching. But what happens is now, when you want to get selected, now you're, for example, in a group discussion, you come, where are you from, Vinav?
Again, not audible.
From Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. So you're from Prayagraj. Now, Let's suppose someone comes to you from Gazipur. गाजीपुर पता होगा ना आपको, वाराणसी और प्रयागराज के बीच में. Okay, so there are certain disadvantages that, there is a certain, for example, someone from Delhi, they're generally more voluble, they speak more. North Indians tend to be more comfortable with words compared to a South Indian. Maybe it's a language thing, or maybe it's a culture or whatever. So the point is that to give you an equal chance to write, to equal chance to appear, that is where coaching comes in. Now you have adequate time, like if your SSB is in July and you're come here in May, so there is some time to, I will not say modify your personality, but increase your skills, enhance your writing skills, or enhance your presentation skills, so that when you present yourself to that assessor, you are at your top form. It's like a game there. But remember one thing, no one can change your personality. If you are a quiet person by nature, nobody can change it for you. I cannot make you Modi ji. अगर आप बोलते नहीं, you cannot become Modi ji. Get that straight. But yes, you can try. You can be a better version of yourself. So that is where coaching comes in. Coaching मतलब, but coaching का भी ये है कि more often than not, people derive the wrong lessons from coaching. They only can come up with कि एक formula पकड़ के आ जाते हैं and they try to apply the formula everywhere. It is only supposed to be an aid to your personality. It is to an aid to present your personality better. Like when I see a candidate, when I know that this candidate has little chance, कि ये बोल ही नहीं पा रहा, he or she has a major issue, then I make it very clear then कि यार see, this is the disadvantage that you have. This is the kind of effort it'll take to overcome it. Do you have it in you to do it? If you say that yes, by all means try. But the other guys, the borderliners who have that chance, who need more exposure, that is where coaching is a big help. There's nothing wrong. If you can prepare for the IAS with coaching, what is wrong with the SSB here? If it helps you improve, why not? So अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं sir, I need to be able to prepare better, I need to be able to speak more, by all means join a few discussions. You'll have an idea what a discussion like. For the example, that candidate I spoke about, that woman candidate I spoke about, she was very good otherwise. As an individual, when I spoke with her, I felt that she just got it in her. But I had this doubt when it came to the discussion. Discussion is almost like war, because when the first bullet flies, all your plans go for a 6. So like I can tell you कि प्रयागराज से वाराणसी कैसे जाना, I can tell you कि ये कर लो, वो कर लो, बस पकड़ लो, या कौन सा संपर्क क्रांति है जो भी पकड़ लो. बट रेलवे स्टेशन तक जाना है, आपको देखना है ट्रेन कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म पे आता है, टिकट खरीदना है. These are facts on route. There are a lot of people who don't know that. So in that sense, yes, coaching will help you. But अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं sir, I've already got it in me, and if you're so confident, more part to you, why not? Go ahead and do it.
Sethu, please go ahead.
Thank you, Akash. Good evening, sir. Happy to talk to you. So this is Sethu here. I'm a repeater, sir. So basically, my doubt is regarding this task. So we have multiple tasks in GTO. I heard what you mentioned, that the first 5 tasks we have to give more importance. But my perception was the later ones where we can individually perform. I mean, so our performance was important. So I just need to know the rationale behind that. Why the first 5 tasks are so important, while we can perform better in individual tasks.
I have one word for youth. Myth. MYTH. This is a classic myth. That Abhinav, you'll have to mute yourself. Okay. This is a very common myth. Okay, I'll do better in the later ones. Why? Don't ask me. I did this job for 9 years. You start doing my job, you will not be able to do your job. Just take it like something. You know what axioms are? Na? The sun will rise tomorrow morning. Taken for a fact. Take it for a fact from me. First 5 tasks are everything in GT. You will give it your all. Baki ka baad mein worry karo. You see, if you are good at your lecture, you have prepared a lecture it well, it automatically follows that you will speak well in a group discussion. You'll have more points to add. You'll have more. You'll contribute more to the discussion. So that is perfectly okay. Nothing wrong. But first 5 tasks. Ye to I am rigid on. I'm not very rigid on a lot of things, but this I'm very firm on. First 5 tasks are everything. Just remember that is how they're designed. आपने वहाँ markup कर दिया, you should know कि your at least GT is sealed.
Understood, sir. So my doubt was, since there are multiple tasks, in case by any chance I miss to perform well in one of the tasks, so and I perform better in another, so is it fine, or it's like in all the tasks I have to perform better?
What has happened here. Dead yesterday. So I can't worry about what has happened. There's only so much I can do about it. What you can do is not spoil the future by worrying about the past. आपके लाइफ में भी तो वही है, जो हो गया है. Move on. Make, do something for your tomorrow. So that is all that you do. Don't worry about it. And all tasks are equally important. Yes, that is a fact. But as this is what I am telling you is, one of those myths, or some people call it a myth, some people call it an unspoken secret of the GT. But you will do the first 5 tasks well. Anyone who speaks to me, first 5 tasks are where you will give it your all and do well in the others. If you're so good, you will do well there also. Lecture to अकेले खड़े होके बोलना, discussion में you have to fight with all those people. Group planning exercise में you have to discuss with all those people to get your solution accepted. इसमें क्या है? अकेले खड़े होके बोलना है. And individual obstacles you're doing on your own. I'm not going to do it for you in any case.
Understood.
Unless you plan to say, I will not do the individual obstacles only. So that's it. Otherwise, that's when it starts.
Sir, I have one more question regarding the screening in process in the GD, group discussion. So I have observed people sometimes maintain too much politeness, they won't talk. Whereas the other people who dominate and they talk more. Sir, but being polite is more professional, isn't it, sir? Still, they don't seem to screen them.
What did I tell you in the first instance? If you don't write anything in that paper, being polite is one thing. Not speaking is another. Which means effectively, if I have a fight with my wife and I decide not to talk to her, am I being polite or am I being rigid? So when you go there, you're going there for a discussion, no?
Yes, sir.
So what is the very fact the task itself is defined, group discussion, you will speak. You will speak, but let the other person also speak. Give that other fellow also a chance. He's also come for the same discussion. So when you speak, you must let the other person also speak. You will not stop them from speaking. But being polite does not mean silence by any stretch of imagination. No.
No. Thank you.
Like what did I tell you? You will not leave that GD with the regret that I could have said this point. You'll speak your point and come. Clear?
Understood.
Follow that rule. You've got it made.
Clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
Raja.
Okay, sir. My question is that when I was doing a GD, if I didn't perform well in PPTT, in picture perception test, should I back my story in GD, or else if group story is going other end, so I participate in that and give actions on that, or in first instance should I back my own story?
Okay, to start with, ladies and gentlemen, PPTT is different from SSB. PPTT is only screening and it is not group discussion. But what I feel that you are referring to is the discussion that happens in the screening end. In case you feel that your story is not good, you feel that your story doesn't make sense, you already narrated an individual story, you find that the other story is much better. What is wrong with accepting the other person's story? There's nothing wrong. You can always think, if I accept your story, it is good enough for me, and I can go ahead with that. But you must speak this out. If you have not cleared the PPTT, which means I know for a fact that you have not spoken, or maybe you've spoken that perfunctory, मतलब खाना पूर्ति वाला एक बार बात किया, उसके बाद you have not taken part in the discussion. Otherwise, you will get screened in. As simple as that. Because people see, if you ask me if I got into some situation, sir, आपने उस समय क्या किया? I will always be the hero of my own story. So that is why I generally don't, like to believe a candidate when they say कि sir मैंने बहुत बात किया था. So that's why I put them in a discussion. When they come to a discussion, suddenly बात नहीं करते. So this is what generally happens. So you will take part in the discussion, whatever happens, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them. I'm sure you can always.
सॉरी कट डाउन सर. इस बार ऐसा हुआ था कि मतलब स्टोरी जो था, मतलब मेरा परसेप्शन ऐसा था कि जो स्टिमुलस था वो हिट नहीं करा था, बट मैंने स्टोरी थोड़ा अच्छे हाई लेवल के आइडियाज पे बनाया था, थोड़ा प्री कंसीव नहीं था बट लिटिल बिट था. बट एक चेस्ट नंबर था 27, ही इज अ पीआर एंड ही मेड अ स्टोरी लाइक कि वो बस घूमने के लिए ट्रिप पर गए एंड ऑल.
Stop. There are two things here, okay? The first is the PR thing, previously recommended candidate. I didn't know this till I met someone and someone told me that PR का pre-request recommended होता है. How is it of any consequence to you here? आप लड़ाई पहले ही हार चुके हो. Instead you say कि सर वो PR है तो उसका चांस ज्यादा है. Many of you will not even accept it, but the truth is the instant you talk about PR, you have already put a thing in your mind कि ये तो आगे निकल गया. You must not ask these questions.
सर नॉट लाइक दैट सर. मेरे दिमाग में ऐसा नहीं सर. सर ऐसा नहीं था एक्चुअली. कैसा हुआ था, लाइक उसकी जो स्टोरी थी उसने बनाया था नॉर्मल सा स्टोरी की वो लोग ट्रिप पर घूमने के लिए गए एंड ऑल, बट वो पिक्चर में कहीं से भी स्टिमुलस नहीं दिख रहा था। एक हाथ में एक स्टिक था, वो दौड़ता हुआ सामने की तरफ आ रहा था और कुछ कैरेक्टर्स उसको देख रहे थे। तो वो कहीं पे भी स्टोरी ऐसा नहीं जा रहा था कि लाइक वो ट्रिप ट्रिप पे गए। इधर साइड से जो स्टोरी बनी थी वो ड्राउनिंग पे बनी थी, और वो ड्राउनिंग जो था वो विशफुल आइडिया था, क्योंकि वहां पर कहीं पे भी पिक्चर में ऐसा नहीं दिख रहा था कि कोई बच्चा डूब रहा है। स्टिल मैंने उन्हें बैक किया, जैसे मेरा स्टोरी था कि विलेज डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम हो रहा है, वहाँ साइड में कैरेक्टर दिख रहा था, थोड़ा फार्मिंग का बैकग्राउंड दिख रहा था। तो बट एट द एंड मैं फिर ड्राउनिंग को, उनकी ही स्टोरी को माना, एंड मैंने उस पर माइक्रो एक्शन 4-5 माइक्रो एक्शन दिए। लाइक मैं ग्रुप को लेके गया। वो जो 27 सिस्टम नंबर था उसने तो सर बात भी नहीं किया, मतलब जीडी में एक दो बार ही बात किया, बाकी वो देख ही रहा था। एंड उसकी स्टोरी जो थी बस एक कॉमन ट्रिप पे थी, जो कि कहीं से भी वहाँ पे ट्रिप का नहीं दिख रहा था। लाइक पूरे किसी ने भी नहीं बनाया था और था भी नहीं सर ट्रिप का। स्टिल ही गॉट स्क्रीन इन सर, बट आई गॉट नॉट, आई डिडंट गॉट स्क्रीन इन। सो मतलब ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है सर फिर?
यार देखो अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, यू आर टेलिंग मी एंड आप मुझे मतलब अपना एक्सपीरियंस बता रहे हो, ठीक है। नाउ दैट एक्सपीरियंस इज योर परसेप्शन ऑफ द होल थिंग, मतलब दिस इज व्हाट यू परसीव्ड ऑफ द होल सिचुएशन. Frankly, I cannot give you an answer based on what I think of what you are telling me or what you saw. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure what you're thinking is correct, but that is just that. अब उसमें क्या, what was at play, what you did is number one. Number two is in your case, my concern is that you have too much riding on that. How many times have you gone for SSB earlier?
Sir, 13 times. But sir, I only got screen in one time, sir.
The other 13 times you've been screened out?
Yes, sir. 12 times.
See, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you know, मेरे को डाउट था कि आप ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हो. I'll tell you why. Because आप ना इतना आप सोच रहे हो, आप राजा आपने इतना बिल्डअप कर लिया है आपने कि आपको एक्शन करना मुश्किल हो रहा है आपको. आपने जो मेरे को डिस्क्राइब किया ना, I've never thought of these things as a necessary. इतना लोड मत डालो यार. आप एक काम करो, ये अगला जो अटेम्प्ट जा रहे हो ना आप, जस्ट अप्रोच इट डायरेक्टली. ये थीटा मत लगाओ, आपको जो दिख रहा है उसमें लिख दो. रिमेंबर वन थिंग, what is your qualification? Where are you from?
Sir, I am from Maharashtra and I am computer science engineer and currently working as a teacher. Sir, in Nagpur, sir, nearby Nagpur.
Where in Nagpur? वहीं से आ रहा हूँ मैं. हाँ.
सर मतलब नागपुर से एक्चुअली नहीं, थोड़ा भंडारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हूँ, नियर बाय नागपुर.
ओके ओके.
हाँ गुड सर, वहाँ पे पढ़ाता हूँ एक्चुअली.
बढ़िया, गुड. आपने इतना लोड डाल लिया अपने ऊपर, इतना बोझ लेके चल रहे, आप आगे बढ़ ही नहीं पा रहे यार. आप वो परसेप्शन, उसने सोचा उसका लेवल कम था, लेवल ज्यादा था. पीपीटीटी में पिक्चर कैसा होता है? नाउ ऑल ऑफ यू लेडीज जेंटलमैन हु आर विद अस, व्हाट इज द पिक्चर लाइक इन पीपीटीटी? इज इट क्लियर? No, it is a hazy picture. It is a blurred picture. The technical term is blurred picture. It is deliberately kept that way so that there is more latitude for imagination. अब आप मेरा काम सीख रहे हो आप राजा, आप लोड बहुत ज्यादा ले रहे हो. That is what is stopping you. आपके में तो diagnosis very clear. बाकी में तो फिर भी डाउट हो सकता है कि इसको पता है नहीं पता. I might be hazarding a guess. In your case, it is crystal clear कि आपने इतना लोड डाल लिया अपने ऊपर. And from what I can make out, you seem to be a very intelligent guy. That you perceived so much, but you're letting your intelligence stop your action. और आपका अभी वरी क्या है कि वो कैसे हुआ. आप अगला जो अटेम्प्ट दोगे ना, आप एक बार मेरे से बात करना. आप बात करके आप सीधा सिंपल रखो यार. आप जस्ट आप पिक्चर देखो, एक स्टोरी लिखो, नरेट करो, डिस्कस करो एंड कैरी ऑन. आप रिकमेंड होगे, मतलब स्क्रीन होगा, रिकमेंडेशन का बाद में बारी करेंगे. आपके केस में तो मैं बोल भी सकता हूँ कि क्या कर सकता हूँ मैं करके, बाकी मैं किसी को बोल नहीं सकता. बिकॉज आपने इतना बांध रखा अपने ऊपर लोड, इट इज एक्चुअली पुलिंग यू डाउन.
सर वो एक्चुअली लास्ट एसएसबी में स्क्रीन आउट होने का बहुत प्रेशर होता है सर, फिर वो थोड़ा सा
क्यों प्रेशर होता है? यू आर ऑलरेडी वर्किंग, यू ऑलरेडी हैव अ जॉब. आपने तो एसएसबी देखा ही नहीं है यार. बाकी तो रिकमेंडेशन का वरी कर रहे होंगे आप. मैं तो मेरा ये है कि आपको एक बार एसएसबी देखना चाहिए. आपने एक बार देखा, यू बीन स्क्रीन्ड वंस ना.
सर वो भी बॉर्डर लाइनर था, मतलब कॉन्फ्रेंस.
वो छोड़ो, आप मेरा काम करो. फिर आप मेरा काम कर रहे हो. बॉर्डर लाइनर था, क्लियर था, बन जाता नहीं बन जाता. कितना क्यों लोड ले रहे हो यार? Because I don't know you personally, so I really don't want to comment. But आप ये छोड़ दो, आप कर लोगे. हाँ.
Let me tell you about Raja. Like, he's a candidate. He's a very good candidate. He's a teacher to the NDA cadets. Okay? He's currently, mentoring the candidates for NDA written examination, and many of his students are actually presently in NDA. So he's a good candidate actually.
तो इतना लोड क्यों ले रहे हो फिर?
सर वो एक्चुअली अटेम्प्ट्स खत्म हो रहे हैं अब, मतलब 2-3 ही अटेम्प्ट्स
अब
बचे हैं।
यार वन से अब वरी मत करो यार. You already have a job. You already doing a good job in teaching people. अब पहले वरी मत करो. I probably think you will get recommended next time. But अब इतना वरी करो तो no. Answer is no. I'm telling you clearly myself. अब मतलब what is your worry? कि just because your candidates have gone on to join ND आपको लग रहा है कि मैं नहीं करूँ तो मेरे ऊपर हंसेंगे? No.
सर ऐसा होता है ना कि मतलब पिक्चर देख के कुछ होता है कि लाइक मैं इस पे स्टोरी बनाऊं या इस पे बनाऊं. कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है मेरे साथ कि प्री कंसीव तो नहीं चले जाएगा या फिर
प्री कंसीव्ड. आप कहाँ तक जा रहे हो यार? आपको जो दिखता है, आपको जो समझ में आता है लिखो. अब 2-3 एक बार एक्सरसाइज आकांक्षा ऑर्गेनाइजिंग पीपीटी एक्सरसाइजेस अब 2-4 करके देखो, आप अपने आप क्लियर हो जाएगा. इनफैक्ट आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू यू फॉर हैविंग बीन सो कैंडिड विद अस. But to say so much in a gathering takes a lot of courage. Take it from me. But आपके में सिंपल आंसर है. आपका टेंशन है. आप एक बार आई थिंक once you cross that probably recommend क्या सेलेक्ट ही हो जाओगे आप तो जाके. मुझे एक बार एक बंदा मिला था हमारा एयरफोर्स वाला इन सम कोचिंग कैंप दैट कंडक्टिंग फॉर द एयरफोर्स. आई मेट अ कैंडिडेट लाइक दिस. एक सार्जेंट साहब थे. सो एनीवे द थिंग वाज दैट ही आल्सो हैड द सेम इशू. बहुत लंबा चौड़ा चल रहा था उनका. तो एक टास्किंग में एक टास्किंग चलता था. टोल्ड हिम वन थिंग, यार अगली बार ना आप या तो रिकमेंड हो गए या सेलेक्ट हो जाओगे या फिर हम नहीं हो गए. मतलब आपका 0 स्क्रीन आउट ही हो जाओगे. तो मैं भी भूल गया, खत्म हो गया. 3 months later 4 months later सडनली गॉट अ कॉल इन नागपुर कि सर मैं सो. तो मैंने बोला यार आई डोंट रिमेंबर, आई एम सॉरी सर. आपने कोचिंग कैंप किया था, ये था वेरी गुड सर. मैं रिकमेंड हो गया इसलिए मैंने आपको कॉल किया बताने. आपका नंबर गलत दिया था आपने, इसलिए आपको फोन करना पता लगा कि आप कहाँ हो बताने के लिए कॉल किया. सो आई डिडंट नो वेदर टू फील गुड और बैड, बट आई वाज वेरी हैप्पी फॉर दैट गाय. सो यू सीम टू बी अनदर चैप इन द सेम मोल्ड. बहुत लोड है राजा, निकल जाओगे. आई थिंक हो जाएगा बिकॉज यू सीम टू हैव गॉट द थिंग राइट, बट वो एग्जीक्यूशन में प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहे हो. you're making me feel like talk like an astrologer, but आपके में तो राशि पूरा क्लियर, हो कुंडली पूरा दिख रहा है मेरे को. प्री कंसीडर पूरा वर्ड छोड़ दो आप. जस्ट सी अ पिक्चर, राइट अ स्टोरी और सेंड इट टू आकांक्षा और समवन. जो 10 पिक्चर देखो, ये पिक्चर है, ये मैंने लिख के दिए, एंड देन आकांक्षा एंड आई विल डिस्कस एंड लेट यू नो व्हाट टू डू.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर.
Shresht, please go ahead. He will take the
Good
time
evening,
for
sir.
next 5 to
good
10
evening,
minutes
hi.
only. Okay.
Sir,
Because
actually, in my last attempt, when I went to Dehradun, at that time, I just did some blunders in my PGT, and I was not getting ideas about my PGT tasks. So, how can I practice those? How can I practice for my PGT so that it will help me in my SSB attempts?
You're talking about the progressive group task, na PGT.
Yes, sir.
Because I can't hear you properly. Okay. Now, see, actually, the paradigm or the system that Akanksha is seeking to create is a novel one. It's a new one, okay? And I think this is the one that is now going to become prevalent. Some people call it the influencer model. Some people call it the online model kind of thing. Because पहले होता था, you used to go to some coaching. अभी भी जाते हैं coaching academies and all that, where they have the whole thing done up, okay? Since we're all based in different cities. Now, PGT guy, remember, the first thing is, ladies and gentlemen, one task does not decide your fate. अगर आपने PGT में ज़्यादा अच्छा नहीं किया, then you have the HGT after that. You have the command task after that.
Like, sir, the main problem is that I don't get the idea at that time, like how to approach it. उस time sir blank हो जाता हूँ अचानक से.
Blank क्या है? PGT में blank कैसे हो सकता है? सारा घूम चल फिर रहे हैं. रोड पे तो होने की, गाड़ी ने मार दिया आपको, अब वहां बीच में हो. You have to go and take part in the thing. You have to do something. So just keep, okay, for you, what I would suggest is there is a certain procedure to the whole thing, okay? Because what you are doing, I think, is that you're starting the whole thing after the GTO says, okay, gentlemen, you can start now. The PGT doesn't start then. जब आपको task explain कर रहा है ना, वो obstacles दिखा रहा है, the stages are being explained to you. So in each stage, you are already making a strategy. Smart ones do that. वो तभी strategy बना रहे होते हैं. Which is where you have the advantage of having someone like Akanksha explain it to you. She's done it recently herself, so she knows कि exactly कैसे करना होता है. I can tell you what wrong you'll do. She'll tell you what right you have to do. So in your case, you're doing it after the task has started. और सडनली बीच में खड़े हो. Now those other fellows already in the middle of the task, obstacle पे चढ़े हुए हैं. So then you feel अब तो वैसे भी chance मिल नहीं रहा है, तो might as well go blank. You're only reacting to the situation. You have to be proactive. Group testing is all about being proactive. You have to go ahead, move ahead of the curve. It's like preparing for an exam. अब exam के बाद वारी करते हो क्या? अब prepare exam में तो नहीं करते ना, exam पहले करते हो.
Yes,
Even
sir.
when you write an exam, or at least that is the procedure I have been learning till now. You read the paper once कि कौन से कर सकते हो, कौन से नहीं कर सकते. At least score the marks that you can. तो इसमें भी यही करना है आपने. Make a strategy when the obstacles are being explained to you, and then be
Okay,
ready
sir.
to the instant he says go, move in. उसका भी एक तरीका that I'll tell you later.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll take the last doubt, sir, and then we'll end this session, right? Yeah. So we can go with Komal.
Good evening, sir. I'm a fresher
Good evening.
and I have correlated VAT. Sir, it's necessary that the total 60 VAT should be related to the personality mentioned in PYQ form, PIQ form.
Could you speak up? I can't. I think you're on a speaker or something. I can't make out what he's saying. There's a lot of echo going on. बोलेंगे.
One second. It's necessary that the total 60 VAT should be related to the personality mentioned in PIQ form.
60.
And if we are not able to remember anything at that time, if we write the fact, so it does there is any negative impact of this?
No. Mistakes are not. See, the trouble is SSBs are not there to catch people. They're not, interrogation camps or something. They're only trying to unravel your personality. So, अगर हमने गलती कर दिया है यार. अब first thing is when you're speaking the truth, how many mistakes can you make? You can misremember a fact. Misrepresentation is a crime. Not remembering is not a crime. Are you understanding me? So don't worry so much. आपने गलती की, I'm sorry sir, I made a mistake. I'll just explain this to you. खत्म.
Okay, sir.
You wrote something in that this thing. आप उसमें बोल दो कि sir, I made a mistake. मैं ये लिखा था. Actually ये है. खत्म बात. वो correct कर लेगा.
Sir, because from some of the candidates I heard this कि अगर facts वगैरह तुम लिख के आते हो and the thing is not related to your PIQ, then क्या पता वो लोग तुम्हें इसलिए out कर देते हैं.
You are like those other people, over analyzing. आप सिर्फ टेस्ट दो यार, you will get recommended. आप रिजल्ट का वरी करोगे, वो क्या सोच रहा होगा, सोच के क्यों ऐसे किया होगा, यार आज सुबह वो उसके वाइफ से झगड़ा हुआ होगा, तभी ऐसे जीटीओ अच्छे मूड में नहीं है, तब उसने मेरे ऊपर निकाला होगा. कहाँ इतना टाइम किसके पास है यार? It's a very professional thing, so you don't worry so much. आपने लिख दिया, गलती कर दिया, fine. Say it, I made a mistake. And what you are referring to is the psych test.
Yes, sir.
No, you just write what you want to write here. Those SRTs and those WATs are basically your responses to those words.
Okay.
If you want to be an astronaut there, you're free to do that. You let your imagination run riot here. Nothing is wrong. No.
Okay, sir.
At your stage in life, how much exposure do you have? मैं कुछ कहानी लिखूं तो समझ सकता हूँ कि मैं करना चाहता था, कर नहीं पाया था. आपके केस में तो ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. So write whatever you feel like. Nothing wrong.
Okay, sir.
Because the more you try to compress or change your personality, the more complications happen. That is when all these things, misrepresentation happens. You say that I'm a very friendly person, but I have no friends. So that is when the trouble starts. You say that I generally like to be alone, and there is nothing wrong with solitude. पहले they used to say कि unsocial बोलते थे, but today it's a phenomenon that is accepted. So the same thing here.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I'll take the doubt of Shweta because she is really requesting me to take her doubt. Okay, so last doubt. Then we'll organize another session as well because sir is joining us at Defense Pathway, right? So these kinds of sessions will, be happening like on weekends, otherwise, when sir will be free, right? So you can ask those doubts there, like on those days also. So we'll take the last doubt of Shweta. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shweta.
Sir, my doubt is that how to deal in the interview, like how to present. Like, sir, I have given 7 SSB so far, in which I have conference out 2 times, and major problem I faced during the interview. Whatever the question asked, I know how to answer, but on that spot, I am not able to speak. I feel started burden on myself, but somewhere I feel that कि मैं कर लूंगी, but वहाँ पे ऐसा होता है कि नहीं हो पाता सर.
टेंशन किस बात का है? क्या हो जाएगा? कभी आपको वो जो इंटरव्यूइंग ऑफिसर या लेडी है, वुमन ऑफिसर या मेल ऑफिसर ने आपको धमकाया है, डराया है, या पेपर वेट फेंका है, या कुछ अटैक किया है, या बोला कि गोली मार दे, कुछ तो बोला होगा ना आपको, जो इतना बोल नहीं पा रहे आप? कुछ तो हुआ होगा आपके साथ.
No, sir.
तो नहीं हुआ तो फिर उनको क्यों ब्लेम कर रहे हो यार? आप तो ब्लेम ही कर रहे हो। आपका टेंशन के क्या हो जाएगा? मैक्सिमम के नॉट रिकमेंड हो गए, अगली बार क्यों रिकमेंड हो जाओगे? आपका डर किस बात का? व्हाट आर यू डूइंग अदरवाइज? आप कुछ काम कर रही हैं?
सर अभी मैं काफी टाइम से प्रिपेयर कर रही हूँ एंड देन मैं होम ट्यूशंस अभी प्रोवाइड कर रही हूँ 10th क्लास.
Very commendable. Okay, but remember one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when you go for the SSB, there's one general notion or there's one general norm that is there, that they prefer someone who has a standby. अगर आप ये बोल के बैठ जाओ कि सर मैंने एकमात्र see there's a difference between being determined and being obsessed. I want to do something, yes. If I can do it, I will definitely do it. But that is the only thing I'll do is a dangerous thing. That is the first thing. Although that is not your case. आपके में क्या है? You're obsessed with the idea of getting obsessed. अगर आपको पता है कि आप बोल नहीं पा रहे तो आपको क्या करना चाहिए? Practice करो. That you joined up, you come to Akanksha is probably the step in the right direction. Have you taken coaching somewhere?
Yes, sir. I have taken offline coaching as well and online coaching also.
हाँ, तो speak to more people. सबसे अच्छा अपने अपना बेइज्जती अपने फैमिली के सामने करो. कैसे? घर के अपने पेरेंट्स के सामने, भाई बहन के सामने खड़े होकर बोलना शुरू कर दो, स्पीच देना शुरू करो इंग्लिश में. See, it's very easy to speak in front of strangers. जब आपका भाई बहन या मम्मी पापा जब आप पे हंसते हैं ना, you feel embarrassed. अब once you get over that, you will do well. ये आपका सब डर निकल जाएगा.
एंड सर एक प्रॉब्लम और है कि वहाँ पे जो जीटीओ टास्क होते हैं, तो अभी मैंने 2 कॉन्फ्रेंस दिए हैं, तो वहाँ पे नो वन एवर कॉल्ड मी. जो कमांड टास्क होता है वहाँ पे मेरे को किसी ने नहीं बुलाया. तो ऐसा 2 बार हुआ मेरे साथ. अब मुझे लाइक मैं आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ.
कुछ नहीं. आप इलेक्शन जीतने जा रहे हो वहाँ? नहीं, योर कंसर्न सीम्स टू बी उन्होंने बुलाया नहीं, मिले नहीं. आपको क्या रिश्ता थोड़ा जोड़ना था आपको वहाँ? They must have seen some logic. They must have found some candidate who's more suited to their task. When I went, although I'm still overweight, but then I was grossly overweight. No one called me. एक ही बार किसी ने बुलाया. उसको भी वेट और बैलेंस करवाना उसका आइडिया बेकार सा आइडिया था. उसको सोचा कि लड़के को खड़ा कर दूंगा तो दूसरे चल के चला जाऊंगा. उसके थर्ड रेट एड के लिए वांटेड अ थर्ड रेट फेलो लाइक मी. तो उसलिए बुलाया. और किसी ने बुलाया नहीं मेरे को बिकॉज आई वाज ओवरवेट. आई वाज नॉट वेरी एथलेटिक. बट आई डिड माय टास्क. I got recommended. So आप उतना बारी नहीं बुलाए तो of no consequence. वो अपना convenience देख रहे हैं यार वो. They are not calling you because you're some great person or you're going to win the next election. They're calling you primarily because you're more suited to that task. So don't read so much into it.
Okay, sir.
आपका प्रॉब्लम है आपका फोकस पूरा गलत चीजों पे, तभी आपको ये कंसर्न हो रहा है.
Yes, sir. I'll improve this.
एमलेस लोड मतलब एमलेस स्ट्रेस. किस बात का स्ट्रेस है? मैं
सर
बोल नहीं
अभी 2 लाइक अटेम्प्ट भी 2 to 3 बचे हुए हैं, तो इसीलिए थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. सर मेरे पास अभी कोई ऐसा बैकअप भी नहीं है. कोई जैसे और भी कैंडिडेट है वहाँ पे, उन लाइक दे आर आइदर इन द कॉर्पोरेट और मतलब कहीं अच्छी जगह सेटल्ड है. बट आई डिवोटेड माई सेल्फ कम्प्लीटली टू दिस प्रिपरेशन. बट व्हेन आई सी अदर पीपल दैट दे आर वर्किंग समवेयर, सर उसका और स्ट्रेस आ जाता है मेरे ऊपर. देन आई स्टार्टेड डाउटिंग माई सेल्फ कि मैंने कहीं और क्यों नहीं ट्राई किया. मैं सिर्फ इसी को
you're too young to have regrets. Okay, regret मेरे जैसे लोगों को होता है इस स्टेज ऑफ लाइफ पे कि यार तब ये किया होता, तब वो किया होता. I don't have any regrets. तो आप किस बात को रिग्रेट कर रहे हो? अभी तो आपका लाइफ आगे बचा है यार. बचा मतलब आगे करना है आपने. वो अभी तो आपको गया है. मेरा तो ज्यादा बचा नहीं है. So what are you so worried about? अब करते जाओ. If you feel that you want to do a job, go ahead and do it. Try it and see. चिंता करके तो नहीं मिलेगा ना आपको. And one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, worrying will not get you recommended. There is a very common myth कि जितना टेंशन काम का जितना फिक्र करूंगा उतना अच्छा है. ये फिक्र और जिक्र से कुछ नहीं होने वाला. करना है आपको. जीटी में तो करना ही है. So you feel that you're not very good at something, keep preparing. यहाँ नहीं तो कहीं और तो काम आएगा. When I said you should have a standby, what I mean is that you should not be a kind of person who just sticks to one thing. एक ही चीज को. Do you know what planing is? रंदा मारना क्या है पता है आपको? जो कारपेंटर होता है ना आजकल तो एवरीथिंग इज प्लाईवुड. पहले लकड़ी को ना लाइन पे लाने के लिए एक वो प्लेन बोलते हैं उसको, उससे मारता जाता है, उसको शेव करता जाता है उसको. आप लोग वैसे सोच रहे हो आप लोग कि मैं एक ही चीज करते रहूंगी तो कुछ ना कुछ निकल के आएगा. दैट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ इंसैनिटी. डूइंग द सेम थिंग अगेन एंड एक्सपेक्टिंग डिफरेंट रिजल्ट्स. व्हाई डू यू वांट टू गो देयर? आपने इतना कैपेबिलिटी है, थॉट अबाउट सो मच, यू टेकिंग ट्यूशंस और व्हाटएवर इट इज, यू टीचिंग पीपल. So take a step. कल आपने ट्यूटर, कल आपने फिजिक्स वाला बना लिया तो तब क्या बोलूंगा कि मैं गलत थी आप तब. So don't worry so much. Be sure about what you're doing. So this is what I've chosen. No regret. Because here regret जब आप वहां लेके जाते हो, you're seen as someone who takes a step in the wrong direction, comes back and worries about the wrong step that she'd taken. You live a very active life. Keep planning. That's all that you need. हो जाएगा. और नहीं भी होगा, at least you take a step in some direction.
Yes, sir.
Oh. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much for coming into the session. Like, I was like very excited for this session and at the same time overwhelmed too to have you in this session, right? And thank you so much to all the candidates for attending this session. You know, I hope you got a good insights of the whole process of all the myths which are there. No.
Thank you very much, Shweta. First of all, like I repeat myself to the point of repetition that the idea is very novel. I've been working with young people, but this is something new where where people your age explain their issues very clearly. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, frankly, much of it is all a construct in your mind. You are stopping yourself. A job in the armed forces might be your, might be your aim, yes, but it may or may not work out. There is the written part, there is the SSB, there is the merit list, there is a medical. Anything can go wrong. It is not your fault. But my idea of all these things is it should be an empowering experience. It should be an experience that makes you stronger. I've seen a lot of people who went to the CTO of Airtel was a flight captain in the armed forces, Randeep Sekhon. So he had the flight captain decided to leave. So was he wrong then? No, he felt that he could have done better outside. And so he did. So my advice for you is that you should do well in whatever fields that you are doing. But primarily, yes, the idea that Akanksha and I are talking about is helping you find your path as far as this is concerned. So when you come, just rid yourself of these ideas. I know it's not easy. I know there is stress. I know you have a family to worry about. We're all middle class. But what we are telling you is that it can be done. Worrying is not the answer to getting recommended. So let's see how it pans out in the future.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for attending
Thank
this
you.
session.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you very much.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai.
Thank you, sir.